Hello, and welcome to the Inovonics training webinar. My name is John Tanton. I'm the training coordinator and technical services representative at Inovonics. In this brief presentation, we'll discuss wireless technology and how to differentiate between commercial wireless offerings. Several factors must be considered to implement an effective EchoStream commercial mesh network. The training provides the information necessary to answer the following questions. What type of end devices are needed for your system? Which type of network communication is necessary for your system? Which RF receiver, gateway, or data logger does this system require? How many end devices will be used in this system? Where will the end devices be located? And are high-powered repeaters necessary? Let's start by differentiating commercial wireless from other wireless technology. Inovonics was formed over 30 years ago with our C series of devices back in 1986. After our C series of devices, we launched our Frequency Agile products in 1994, designed to operate in broadcast mode only. Just over a decade later, we moved to our EchoStream line of products, expanding from broadcast mode, adding in directed messaging and enhanced interface immunity. Inovonics wireless devices operate between 868 and 928 MHz depending on your region. This range all operates within that red box on the electromagnetic spectrum. The only difference between all of these radio waves within that box are frequency and wavelength, which plays a large factor in how they operate in different environments. This spectrum is subject to change based on the region with which you operate within. In the United States and Canada, we operate from 902 to 928 MHz. In the European Union, we operate at 868 MHz, and in Australia and New Zealand, we operate within 915 and 928 MHz. When it comes to understanding the importance of range, you need to understand the components and characteristics of a wireless system and how different the physical attributes can affect the system. Let's start with range. Since commercial wireless operates on a lower frequency, it does not require as much power to broadcast our signal as Bluetooth or Wi-Fi. Because of this, we can offer a device with significantly larger range than either of them. Anytime you are using a wireless device, there can be some challenges involved. For instance, physical objects might reflect or absorb some of that signal. Materials that will cause very little to no loss to our transmission are wood, glass, air, plastic, and drywall. Whereas metal, wire mesh, grating, chain link fence can reflect some or all of that signal. And vegetation, earth, brick, concrete, humans, and animals can absorb some of that signal. These factors play a significantly larger role when it comes to installing wireless in a residential versus commercial environment. Since commercial buildings tend to be made of a lot more metal and concrete than your standard residential home, you need to use a wireless signal capable of penetrating or working around those obstacles. Commercial wireless operating in the 900 MHz range has a significantly smaller wavelength than residential wireless in the 300 MHz band. This allows us to pass through obstacles such as rebar and concrete, as our wavelength is roughly the size of a baseball. Compare that to the basketball-sized wavelength of residential wireless, which gets reflected off of the metal within the concrete. Another challenge can be RF noise and interference. Commercial wireless allows us to operate on a spread spectrum as opposed to a narrow band. And when using frequency hopping spread spectrum, we are broadcasting simultaneously across multiple channels. This way, if there is some kind of RF noise causing interference on one channel, our signal is still able to communicate with its receiver through another. You can think of this like driving a car down a one-lane road as opposed to a multi-lane highway. If something is blocking that one-lane road, you cannot move around it. But on a multi-lane highway, you can just switch lanes to avoid the obstacle. Now let's discuss receiver sensitivity. Data rate plays a large portion for receiver sensitivity. As you can see on this chart, Commercial wireless does not provide a large data rate. It is not capable of sending large packets of information like photos or videos like you can with Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, or cellular data network, but this provides an advantage to us. Receiver sensitivity is adversely affected by bandwidth requirements. Higher bandwidth equals more RF spectrum needed, which in turn reduces receiver sensitivity. This means that while the receiver is listening to the data being communicated from one transmitter, it must use more of the spectrum to hear another communication from another transmitter. So by communicating smaller amounts of data, our receiver is able to hear more transmissions without using more of the RF spectrum. Let's now discuss battery life. Commercial wireless can offer a significantly larger amount of battery life compared to Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and cellular due to its frequency on the electromagnetic spectrum. Because we use a lower frequency, we can offer longer battery life with less energy. This allows our transmitters to operate for years on a single battery compared to some of those other wireless products that require line power to operate for long periods. What are repeaters and how can they benefit your system? Not only are repeaters great for expanding your coverage over large distances, they can also be a great tool to navigate around physical obstacles that might be causing interference, such as a safe, ATM, MRIs, or large HVAC systems. Our transmitters can already offer a significant amount of range, 25,000 square feet inside standard commercial buildings, but our repeaters provide the ability to create a dedicated commercial mesh network to cover even our largest of installations, offering a coverage range of 50,000 square feet in your average commercial buildings. There are two kinds of network communications in an EchoStream commercial mesh network: broadcast and directed messaging. When using broadcast messaging, each end device sends out multiple copies of each message, and every repeater in range rebroadcasts multiple copies of that message. Every repeater not in range of the end device originating the message, but in range of the rebroadcasting repeaters, also rebroadcasts multiple copies of the message. If the serial receiver is in range of the end device, it also immediately passes the message to your application controller. This is a great redundancy in most installation types. Then we have directed messaging. Using directed messaging network, each repeater maintains a list of neighboring repeaters that are closer to the network coordinator than it. When a repeater receives a message from an end device, it transmits the message to a neighboring repeater on its list, which then transmits the message to one of its neighbors, and so on, to the network coordinator. This forms the most efficient path for the message to take to reach the network coordinator. This is designed for those extremely large installations, for example, a senior living installation with thousands of transmitters and potentially hundreds of repeaters. Having a wireless product that is FCC approved offers frequency hopping spread spectrum, optimal battery life, optimal building penetration, and the ability to have a dedicated network with repeaters is why we found that the 900 MHz range is the sweet spot and fits all the needs for our customers. When it comes to commercial grade wireless, always look for 900 MHz, frequency hopping spread spectrum, repeaters, and a dedicated network. Let's now discuss Inovonics universal transmitters. Our universal transmitters provide you the ability to integrate your existing normally open and normally closed hardwired contacts and sensors into our advanced wireless system. We make several different flavors of universal transmitters, some that have their own built-in reed switch for a door window contact, others that have wall tampers, or ones that supervise the line between your contact and our sensor with an end-of-line resistor.
We also make dual input universal transmitters for those situations where it makes more sense to wire two contacts or sensors into a single transmitter, like a double door for instance. It is important to note that a multi-function receiver must be used to differentiate the individual inputs of these transmitters. The EN1210 is our baseline for the universal transmitters. It uses a CR123A battery with a 3 to 5 year battery life. The EN1210 does not support an end-of-line resistor, has a maximum wire length of 10 feet from contact to transmitter, and can change the input from normally open to normally closed by changing the jumper placement on the selection pins. The EN1210W has all the same functionality of the EN1210 with the added benefit of a magnetic reed switch to be used as a built-in door window sensor. The EN1210 EOL is our next one, and this transmitter takes an EN1210 and adds an end-of-line resistor to supervise the line between your contact and our transmitter. All Inovonics transmitters that require an end-of-line resistor come with a 2.2K ohm resistor. The EN1215 EOL is most similar to the EN1210 EOL with a built-in wall tamper for added security for those installations requiring a specific UL listing. The EN1215W EOL takes the added security of the EN1215 EOL and bundles that with a built-in magnetic reed switch for use as a door window sensor. The EN1212 is our standard dual input universal transmitter. Much like an EN1210, but with the added ability to wire two contacts or sensors into the same transmitter and monitor each one individually. Input 1 on our dual input transmitter can be changed between normally open and normally closed with the selection pins shown in the diagram, but the second input is always set for normally closed. The EN1216 takes the functionality of the EN1212 and adds in the additional security of a wall tamper. Last, we have our EN1252. The 1252 takes a 1212 and ups the amperage to give you that extra range to difficult installations where you might not be able to add in a repeater. It all uses the CR123A battery like all the other universal transmitters, but gets a 1 to 2 year battery life to provide the additional range. Inovonics has a wide range of pendant transmitters to fit all of your applications. Each variation has subtle differences to fit your customer's needs. Our newest pendant transmitter is our EN1221S. We offer several different versions of this panic button with slightly different part numbers for use in America, Australia, and New Zealand, which comes with either a lanyard or wristband depending on your preference for how to wear it. The EN1221S has a 1 year battery life, large LEDs to indicate different status messages that are easy to see, vibration confirmation to provide immediate confirmation that the button has been activated, waterproof housing that achieves IP67 waterproof standards, and an optional clearance card for quick clearance alarms. A red LED indicates an alarm activation, whereas a blue is an alarm clearance, and a yellow indicates a low battery. We offer several different accessories, such as an alarm clearance card, replacement neck lanyards, wristbands, belt loop clips, and replacement battery doors. Our EN1223D and 1223S are a water-resistant pendant transmitter that use a CR2450N with a 1 to 2 year battery life. We offer additional accessories for replacement housing screws, accessory pack, large and small wrist straps offered in bulk or individual units. The EN1233D and 1233S are similar, but designed to be worn around the neck. They use a CR2 battery with a 3 to 5 year battery life and have the option of a metal, plastic, or simulated neck cord. Both the EN1223 and 1233D are designed to have both buttons pressed simultaneously to activate the alarm to avoid accidental activations. These are not designed to have one button do one thing and the other a different. The EN1235D and S and EN1235DF and SF are similar to the EN1233D and 1233S, but are either designed to be worn clipped to a belt or mounted to a desk. They also use a CR2 battery with a 3 to 5 year battery life, and the EN1235DF/SF have a back tamper for tamper detection. The EN1236D and 1238D are multi-condition transmitters with multiple functions. The EN1236 and 1238D also use the CR2 battery with a 3 to 5 year battery life. And when you press the left button, activates function 1, right button activates function 2, and both buttons pressed simultaneously activates function 3. Whereas on the EN1238D, it's similar, except when you press either the left or right button, it activates the first function, and both buttons pressed simultaneously activates the second function. It's important to note that you need a multi-functioning receiver for fully work with these multi-condition pendant transmitters. The EN1224 and 1224ON also use a CR2 battery with a 3 to 5 year battery life and offer 4 buttons for 4 separate conditions. The only difference between these two pendant transmitters are what's printed on the buttons themselves. When it comes to motion detection, we offer a few different types of passive infrared motion detectors. All Inovonics motion detectors use passive infrared technology to detect motion. We offer an activity sensor for our senior living customers, standard wall mount with a large detection range, 4-element detector for high traffic environments, detectors with pet immunity, and 360 ceiling mount motion detectors. The EN1241-60 is designed for senior living applications to verify that the residence is still up and active and has an adjustable sleep time of 2, 4, or 6 hours that can be adjusted with a jumper placement and reset. It uses a CR1238 battery with a 1 to 2 year battery life. You can adjust the sensitivity of the sensor itself by changing the PIR sensitivity jumper to auto pulse for environments less sensitive to temperature fluctuations, and single pulse for environments more sensitive to temperature fluctuations. The EN1241-60 also has a built-in pet immunity with sensitivity options of up to 33 or 55 pounds. And lastly, it has the ability to adjust the sensitivity of the sensor to provide the most effective activity sensor for your application. The EN1260 is our standard wall mount motion detector. It uses a CR123A battery with a 2-year battery life. This versatile motion detector has the ability to adjust between a fixed and variable sleep time to help conserve battery life in high traffic environments. You also have the ability to change the sensitivity of the PIR by adjusting the jumper placement to either auto pulse for less sensitive temperature fluctuations or single pulse for more sensitive temperature fluctuations. Along with the standard lens that provides a 50-foot coverage pattern, we offer a curtain, long range, and pet alley lens options. The EN1261HT is our motion detector designed for high traffic environments. This motion detector uses a customized battery that provides a 4-year battery life, has the option of a fixed or variable sleep time for your customization, the ability to choose between auto or single pulse mode, and the option to adjust the sensitivity for greater accuracy. The standard lens offers a coverage distance of 50 feet, and with the long-range lens, that coverage extends to a length of 60 feet. The EN1262 is a wall-mount motion detector with pet immunity for animals up to 30 pounds. And last, the EN1265 is a ceiling-mounted 360 motion detector. This motion detector uses 2 CR123A batteries and offers a 4-year battery life. It also has the ability to change between a fixed and variable sleep time with jumper placements. Adjustable PIR sensitivity of auto pulse versus single pulse, depending on the temperature fluctuations of the room it's installed in. And an optional long-range lens for those rooms with high ceilings. Along with our universal transmitters, pendants, and motion detectors, we also make specialty transmitters for a wide range of applications, from smoke and CO detectors, glass break sensors, and bill trap transmitters. Our EN1244 smoke detector offers tamper prevention, local test and silence alarm functions, low battery detection, and maintenance warnings. Our EN1245 CO detector offers local test and silence alarm functions, low battery detection, maintenance warning, tamper prevention, and a 10-year sensor life. The EN1247 glass break detector uses Interlogic's Shatter Pro 2 pattern recognition technology that provides 25 feet of coverage, recognizes the actual pattern of glass breaking across the full audio band and up to a 1/4 inch thick glass. The EN1249 build trap transmitter has 2 alarm modes, 2 or 10-second delays to avoid false alarms, easy install due to no wires, smart baiting to indicate the bill has been inserted, and back and internal tampers to prevent its removal. The EN1244 uses 2 CR123A batteries and provides a 3 to 5 year battery life. The test button provides easy testing of the sounder, and the green and red LEDs indicate specific information on the status of the device. This chart provides a breakdown of the different messages the LEDs and sounder indicate, from powered up standby, sensitivity out of range, in alarm, and low battery. The EN1245 also uses two CR123A batteries and has a 3 to 5 year battery life. The test button allows you to test the radio and the sounder, and the green and red LEDs provide real-time status of the CO detector. The LEDs and sounder will let you know when everything is normal, in an alarm or test mode, low battery, detector trouble, sensor at end of life, and when the device has been powered up. Our glass break sensor uses a CR123A battery and has a 3 to 5 year battery life. The EN1247 can detect breaking glass from plate to tempered glass. To test the Inovonics EN1247 glass break sensor, you need to use the Interlogix 5709C acoustic glass break tester. Like most other Inovonics transmitters, our build trap uses a CR123A battery and gets roughly 3 to 5 years battery life. It has two separate delays to prevent false alarms. By placing the jumper on or off the selection pins, you can change the build trap to have either a 2 or 10-second delay when the bill is removed before the alarm is sent to avoid false alarms. The EN1249 comes built with both a back and internal tamper to prevent tampering or the removal of the device. Let's jump into our environmental monitoring transmitters. Our environmental transmitters are designed to monitor current and voltage, temperature and humidity, or the detection of water. Some of these have their own built-in sensors, and others allow you to wire up an external sensor for external monitoring. All of our environmental transmitters use the same CR123A battery. These transmitters here are designed to only work with an EN4000 serial receiver or EN6040 network coordinator. But we still make some that are designed to work with an Inovonics EchoStream receiver, like our EN1751 water detector and our EN1752 temperature detector transmitters. Let's start by discussing our EN1702 current voltage transmitter. It takes a CR123A battery and provides up to 8 years of battery life. It has dual inputs that allow you to monitor two identical analog sensors. Based off of the jumper settings, you can change the sensor configuration to monitor 4 to 20 milliamps, 0 to 10 volts, or 0 to 5 volts. The EN1721 is a built-in temperature and humidity sensor. It will send a message to its receiver periodically and any time there has been a significant change in temperature. It has a measurement range of -40 to 140 degrees Fahrenheit and a humidity range of 0 to 90%. The typical accuracy is 0.5 degrees Fahrenheit and 2% humidity and has a 3 to 5 year battery life. The EN1722 requires the ACC 710 external temperature humidity sensor. It transmits back to its head end periodically and upon significant change. This sensor can detect temperature between -4 to 140 degrees Fahrenheit and 0 to 100% relative humidity. It has an accuracy of 0.5 degrees Fahrenheit and 2% humidity and has a 3 to 5 year battery life. The EN1723 provides internal measurement and external thermistor options in a single device. Like its sister transmitters, it will periodically send its temperature measurements upon significant change, and can adjust the transmission levels from 10 seconds to 30 minutes, and has the ability to measure a temperature range of negative 13 degrees to 140 degrees Fahrenheit with the internal sensor, and negative 22 degrees to 212 degrees Fahrenheit with the external probe. It has an accuracy of 0.8 degrees Fahrenheit and has a battery life of 8 years. The EN1751 has a 3 to 5 year battery life. Alarms upon detection of a 1/4 inch of non-distilled water, will send a tamper message if the probe wire is cut or disconnected, and is compatible with both Honeywell and Flare Electronics probes. The EN1752 has an 8 year battery life, can detect temperature from 80 degrees Fahrenheit as the high and 40 degrees Fahrenheit for the low, and with the ACC17XX programming cable, it can be programmed with customized high and low temperature thresholds. The EN1752 is compatible with the Honeywell T280R probe for external monitoring applications. Let's move on to our submetering transmitters, our PMTs, or otherwise known as pulse meter transmitters. We make 3 different PMTs, our EN1501, EN1501XL with extended battery life, and our EN1501EXT, designed to be integrated into a meter as one unit. These transmitters are designed to monitor the flow of water, gas, or electricity flowing through a meter with pulsed outputs. It is important to note that these transmitters only work with our EN4000 receiver and EN6040 network coordinator. Our most commonly used PMT is our EN1501, which uses a CR123A battery and has a 5-year battery life. This transmitter is compatible with our TapWatch submetering system and virtually any meter with a pulsed output with a maximum of 10 feet of wire from the meter to the transmitter. The EN1501XL offers all the same functionality of the EN1501, but with a non-replaceable battery that offers a 20-year battery life to help cut down on maintenance costs. The EN1501EXT has the same functionality of the EN1501, but designed to be integrated into its own meter and can be powered by an external power source or use a CR123A battery. We also make transmitters specifically to be integrated into your company's hardware. These specialty RF modules can be used for an infinite amount of applications. The EN1941 is our standard one-way binary RF module. It provides virtually any binary switch device wireless functionality. The EN1941XS one-way serial data RF module is similar to the EN1941, but gives you the ability to transmit up to 50 bytes of serial data across the wireless band. Lastly, the EN3942XS is our two-way serial data RF module equipped with UART logic level serial connection, an onboard voltage regulator, and capable of sending up to 180 bytes of user-defined data across the wireless band. The Inovonics one-way binary RF module provides reliable, low-cost, low-power wireless communication for integrators, making virtually any binary switch device wireless. The EN1941 is a universal one-way RF module with 2 alarm input pins, allowing the use of dual inputs. This module can be used for any applications such as a call notification, an any switch or alarm conditions that need to be transmitted wirelessly. The Inovonics one-way serial data RF module provides reliable, low-cost, low-power serial wireless communication for integrators. The EN1941XS is a universal one-way RF module that allows for the transmission of up to 50 bytes of user-defined serial data. This module connects to a serial interface to transmit variable data such as temperature, humidity, pressure, or liquid levels to a head-end application controller, and is compatible with the EN4000 and EN6040 network coordinator. Inovonics two-way serial data RF module is line-powered two-way serial data transceiver designed to physically interface with your product as a daughter board for use in the EchoStream commercial mesh network. Serial data sent to the module from your remote application controller is formatted by the transceiver, and the data is then transmitted through the network. Likewise, RF messages received are formatted by the transmitter and sent as serial data to your remote application controller device. All data is sent at a default rate of 9600 baud, no parity, 8 data bits, and 1 stop bit. The data is transmitted least significant bit first. The EN3942XS two-way serial data RF module has an onboard voltage regulator. Connect power cabling to an external power supply of 3.6 to 5.5 volts and is compatible only with the EN6040 network coordinator. When it comes to best practices for integrating specialty RF modules, always leave the antenna clear of any obstructions and refer to developer and integrators guides. It's important to not enclose transmitter boards inside metal housing, place other boards, wires, or other materials on or around our board's antenna, and try to add any external antenna to the Inovonics transmitter board.
Thank you for attending our training webinar. If at any time you have questions, please reach out to Inovonics Technical Services team and we're happy to help.